Good evening, good evening, good evening. Reggie versus Salas coming to you with another video. What's going on, guys? It's been a long time since we've been back doing a kind of a information type video for you guys with World of Warcraft Classic. And today I wanted to talk about the Sword of Zeal. So let me give a backstory on this one here. So I had a buddy who's always in my chat, loyal friend to the stream, definitely a big part of the community, Big Merc. He was a rogue rocking daggers, and this sword dropped, the one that I'm going to talk about here, which is Sword of Zeal. I did some testing a couple months back when I had the sword given to me by the Loot Council in my guild, and I realized something that no one's really talking about is that the proc on the sword, it doesn't have any stats, but it has an insane proc that is pre-raid bis as far as swords goes for warriors and rogues. And I wanted to give a video to kind of show you guys the proc and how good it is and what it relates to. So let's get into it, boys. Sword of Zeal, deep dive testing, RVS. Let's go.
You gotta knock the fuck out, man!
So we're here, main character Warblade. As you can see here, please follow. If you guys are watching the channel, we have big guides and big raids coming. That's twitch.tv, Reggie versus Salas, Team RVS here. So we're discussing this weapon here, which is called the, let me equip it real quick, Sword of Zeal. And what the Sword of Zeal is, it's a rare quality blue sword that has 151 top end damage. So the top end damage rivals your Brutality Blade from Molten Core. Brutality Blade stronger, and it does have stats, so it's the direct upgrade from your Sword of Zeal. But if you do not have the Brutality Blade yet, or one of the swords off of ZG, this is stronger, a little stronger than those because of the proc. And what the proc does is it's a chance don't hit. A burst of energy fills the caster, increasing his damage by 10 and armor by 150 for guess what? 15 seconds. Now, is anyone that plays World of Warcraft Classic, or maybe even in retail, plug it in the chat if retail chance on hits are 15 seconds or below. But I know in Classic, that's almost double the usual proc time, which is normally like 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds. This is a whopping 15 seconds, which is almost double the 8 seconds that you normally get on chance on hit weapons, like the Untamed Blade. That increases strength, I think, by 300 for 8 seconds, right? Now, if you're in an execute phase in that procs, 8 seconds is a long time. You can get a couple globals off in 8 seconds. But imagine you rocking this here, and it gives you 15 seconds. That's amazing. And it's underrated because it's blue in quality. If this thing was epic in quality, if the color was, instead of blue, it was purple, then much more rogues and warriors will be wanting this. So if it does drop in your raid, it drops off bosses like Nefarian or Ragnaros or Onyxia. It drops off bosses in raids. So it's a good chance you can get it. It's a great starter weapon. So if you're getting into Classic for the first time, this is a good weapon. And I kind of want to test it out. So as you can see here, my damage, for some reason it's not showing the Dark Moon Fair buff that I have here. But that's supposed to be plus 10 also. But this one procs pretty awesome. So let's get into it. All right. So we got it going here. We're going to keep this up to show you guys. Boom, and it procced. You see that? Plus 10 damage right there. Hit him with a thing, execute there. You see that? It's giving you plus 10 base damage for 15 seconds. See, it's still going and the fight doesn't end. The proc is called Zeal. And you do a little RPG spin around on your character. Right? So you've seen it procced, of course, one time in that fight because it's 15 seconds. Most fights are 10 seconds or below. So let's go around and, you know what? Let's fight the bodyguard up here. He's pretty strong. And let's see how good that proc is. So right now my top end is 417. I'm rocking the Sword of Zeal and my Brutality Blade. Boom. So I rush in, do some hits. I'm only doing white hits right now, boys. But this is it's a big fight, so I might have to proc it a little more. I'm gonna do my Thunderclap, and then I'm gonna do my Demo Shout, because this guy hits pretty hard. Boom. You see how I went up. The crit just happened with Enrage, so that went up to 521, which is an amazing talent. And then boom, you see at the end of that, it went to 535 because now you see the modifier plus 10 of your base damage. And then now look at it kicked in. Another 110 because of my Dark Moon Fair finally kicked in. So you see that. So that's awesome fight right there, boys. It was always up, but it took a little bit for the stats to kick in. That's pretty damn awesome, boys. So let's do it right here, man. Let's test this thing on out. I'm gonna move my damage meter up here so you guys can see that per fight. And we're gonna keep this up here. As you can see, it's plus 10, plus 110 because I have damage plus 10 from the Dark Moon. So let's find some enemies, boys. They keep disappearing for some reason. And let's get into the details. So we're gonna hit him there. We got the Dark Moon Fair buff up. We're just doing our white hit so we can see this Sword of Zeal proc. Okay. Alright, so it didn't proc that fight. That's fine. Let's move on to the next guy. Dark Moon Fair buff is up. So I got 110 damage. And what we're doing is we're trying to fish for the Sword of Zeal to proc, which it does proc at a good rate. Got my flurry up. 461. Of course, the Crusader proc, so that's great. Went up to 461 there. It has a good proc rate on it. And like I said, it has a good animation when it does proc. But the thing I wanted to show you, just like I showed before, is it stacks with the Dark Moon Fair buff. And it's basically a mini Dark Moon Fair buff. So as you see right there, boys, you get plus 10 times 110. So your base damage goes up 20%. As you can see that, boys. You saw it's a short window, of course, because it's only 15 seconds. But when you stack it with Dark Moon Fair, it stacks up. So you see with Dark Moon Fair, my top end is what? 417. The Sword of Zeal procs, it goes up to 428. All right, you see Crusader proc on that one. So Crusader's going to increase my melee damage by 25%. And that's fine. Yeah, so that's going to go up 25% to 138 because of the Crusader proc. But imagine you have Crusader, you have the Sword of Zeal, and you have your Dark Moon Fair buff. Dude, my base damage went to 561, which is amazing. That's amazing right there, boys. All right, so we're at the base 417 because we're at 10% for Dark Moon Fair. Then boom, right there, boys. You see how I went up to 428. We went from 417 to 428 right there, boys. That's the proof in the pudding right there. It stacks with your Dark Moon Fair buff, and it's basically a mini Dark Moon Fair buff. That's why this sword should be sought after for beginning rogues and beginning warriors. Hell, and even if you don't have another main hander, it could be a great substitute when you slap Crusader on it. I went from 417, which is with Dark Moon Fair buff, to 428 when the Sword of Zeal procs, to 567 when Crusader procs. And you get plus damage by 25%. That's amazing, guys. That's an amazing spike in damage. See, boom, again, you seen that. The fight just started, and it went from 417 to 428. And you have both of them proccing at the same time. Dude, that's amazing. You're getting healed, you're getting armor increase. And look, boom, and now Crusader procs, and then it goes to 521. Back to 417, because this is a long fight, which is good. It's a long fight. It procced already once in the fight, and then boom, it procced again, boys. You guys just saw that. It procced twice in one fight, right here. Boom. That's amazing, guys. It procced twice in one fight. And that's exactly what you want to see, boys. That was a good test right there. So you had a long fight, and imagine your boss fights are going to go more than that. So it's going to proc multiple times on boss fights. The Sword of Zeal. It's strong because of its proc. One, it gives you good top end damage for a blue sword. 151 is good top end. The second thing is no other weapon at this level is giving you a chance of a burst on energy, fills the caster, increasing his damage by 10, which is base damage, which is the damage you want, increased by 10. And then it gives you additional armor. So your survivability goes up because it's giving you 150 armor for a whopping 15 seconds. That's great. That's phase 5 level as far as a time interval of upkeep for your proc. And you saw there, you had an Infernal coming, and we was able to get it to proc twice. One at the beginning of the fight, and one at the end of the fight, which was very strong, boys. Very, very strong. Very strong. So that's the Sword of Zeal and how good it is when it comes to its proc. There are certain weapons that have great procs. Thunder Fury is one of them. BRE is one of them. People love those weapons. Untamed Blade is underrated when it comes to when it comes to proc chance. But this is showing off great chance to combine it with your DMF. Also, it stands well on its own too, as you guys can see there. It was very strong when it came to the base damage stacking with the Darkmoon Fair buff, because that's what it is. Anyone who knows about this weapon now, you can get the jump because it's basically a mini Darkmoon Fair buff. You know, you get the 110 plus another 10%, which is giving you plus 20 base damage increase. And you saw there on that Infernal. Let me try to find one more Infernal to see if we can get it to do. And if it doesn't, it's fine. You guys were able to see it already. So we got this guy here. We're going to fight him solo. But boom, we're going to rush in there. All right, we're going to pull him down. Make sure our procs are on. Hit him with the thunderclap. All right, and now we got a long fight ahead of us, right? Cool. So we're looking here. Darkmoon Fair buff is up, and we're fishing for Crusader proc. That's great. Yeah, Crusader proc right there, boys. Oh, he's going down though. So he's getting slapped, and boom, there it is. We went up to 461. You saw that right there, right, boys? You get 110. You get plus 10, and then you times that by 110, and for both weapons, boys. Look at that. 417, we went up, right? It's really, you think about it, it's 406, it's actually increasing it by 11. That's something that I didn't even know, boys. That it's increasing it by 11. So that's my guide right there on the Sword of Zeal. I think it's an underrated weapon. If you find it, if it drops off one of those bosses, especially if you don't have better weapons, or if you're a dagger rogue trying to go to swords like a lot of rogues are, I would get this weapon. If you're a warrior, like I had my Edge Masters in September of last year. If I would have known how powerful this was, I would have snatched it off the auction house because my DPS would have been crazy. But now I know, and now you guys know because you're watching the video. This is a Sword of Zeal guide. There's probably not a lot of guides out there, if any, that are talking about this Sword of Zeal. I think it's underrated because of that proc. It's basically a 15-second Darkmoon Fair buff. And you saw how it gives a multiplier when you have Darkmoon Fair like I have right now. Perfect time for me to test it. Purge Guild on DV Delight. Follow. Of course, if you like this this guide here talking about the Sword of Zeal, you can equip it at level 58. And it's a great sword starting out. If you don't have the Brutality Blade, if you don't have your CTS, and you don't have your Viscag, you can also combine all of those weapons with this because those can be in your offhand while this one is main only. And it has a slow attack speed too. The attack speed's 280, which is great. You're gonna have nice, slow, powerful hits, plus a great proc that increases your base damage by, guess what? By 10%. It's awesome. It's awesome. Let me do one more, boys. And boom, there it is. I did one more, and guess what? It procced again. Right off the fight starts. And it's still, I got 10 seconds left on it, boys. 10 seconds left, and this fight's almost over. And I've got 10 full seconds left on it. That tells you everything you need to know right there. Plus 10, and then you get a multiplier of 110 base damage. That gives you everything you need to know. Sword of Zeal is a great find for sword rogues and also one-hand dual-wielding warriors. So that's my guide right there, boys. It is an excellent weapon, especially for its item range, which is a blue quality, and you can get it at level 58. You don't even have to be 60 to get this, and you're getting a mini Dark Moon Fair buff. That's the reason for it. So, boys, my name is Reggie vs. Solace. I have 2 characters on DV Delight server. They're both warriors. I'm the warrior class lead for the guild Purge, one of the top horde guilds on the server, but it is a small server, and it is a role-playing PvP server that I decided to roll on. I've been playing World of Warcraft since 2016 on private servers, Elysium and Lightbringer specifically. And I brought that warrior talent to over here to Classic, and I've been having a good time. Join us on raids. We do all of our raids on twitch.tv, Reggie vs. Solace. You can come on in, check it out. We're growing the stream. We're growing the community. I got some hilarious sound effects like the air horn that you guys see here. And of course, when we get new items, the classic Zelda finding the item thing. So, and then of course, you know, I'm a big Sega fan. So we got the every time we defeat the boss. And many more sound effects and emotes and things like that. Join the community. You guys can join the Discord. All those links will be in the item description below. Also, so twitch.tv, we raid Sundays and Fridays, and then we do like PvP, and I'm grinding on my second warrior to rank 12, and that grind is going to be going for at least another month and a quarter. So you can join me over there, twitch.tv, Reggie vs. Solace. Join the community as we build this stream up, boys. We've been doing our classic grinding, similar to how Stay Safe, Tips Out, SFan, a lot of other WoW content creators are doing theirs. And I throw my hat in a bunch and providing some good content, boys. So, Sword of Zeal, definitely a great find for your beginning rogues, your beginning warriors. If you don't have a better weapon, it is super strong. You can do some testing on yourself. It drops off Ragnaros, Onyxia, Nefarian, bosses like that. You could also find it in the auction house because it's a BOE, which is great. Let me know how it tests out. As you guys can see here, there's a modifier on it. Plus 20, plus 20 base damage increase. You guys saw the numbers. It is excellent because of that. So if you're popping executes on a warrior, or if you dried out a vanish on a rogue, you can be strong with it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what it's going for on your servers. You may be able to find a cheat, because a lot of people know about it until this video. Twitch.tv, Reggie vs. Solace. Signing out. Till next time, boys. Take it easy.